third ending. This time we're going to become Emperor. And see how that one turns out. So we at the end, Lurkos before us. You know, we're doing two separate endings. There is the ending where we become Emperor. There is an ending where we stay in Rome. I guess we will also get crucified, but let's see that one. First we're going to become Emperor.
Painful as it looked.
We need to buckle up, he'll return once he dies, stronger than before.
Be more obstacles for me to conquer, and I will conquer them.
Didn't see that coming, huh?
Oh, not there! It's an old injury. Why do you hit a feeble old man? Why did I stay in Rome?
Well, that was a
Why?
mistake. But yeah.
Come on, know when to quit.
We've lost! Let's get out of here!
You've been dreaming of this since the day your father died.
Any final words?
It doesn't matter if you kill me. In fact, I'm content. You are clearly a better choice to lead Rome. It seems the park I intended my role to be in molding the first emperor of Rome. When I am dead, your reign will begin.
That is up to me. We're going to the evil path. If you haven't watched the other episodes where we are benevolent and leave and be friendly, and just watch the previous episodes. This episode is about we're going to become the emperor of Rome. That is up to me to decide. Your only role now is to die.
It's finally over. It almost seems unreal.
That is not over. This is only the beginning.
The beginning of what?
You have violated every single rule we set out to protect in the first place. You have killed Romans. Senators, even.
I am a soldier. It's my job, and I have the courage to do what needed to be done.
Kaiso was right. You do sound like Lurko.
We must submit ourselves to the judgment of the Senate, as we discussed. Only then can we begin to undo some of the damage we have caused.
Are you stupid? Did you hit your head in battle? We will all be killed.
Not all of us. He will probably be condemned to death indeed, but we will not be punished as harshly.
We should not get punished at all. We should take over Rome and live like kings.
The Anira is right. Surrender will only lead to execution.
But, Magister, surely morals dictate that he should surrender. Doing anything else would be immoral, and thus make him a lesser man.
He is like my own child. He would be a lesser man, but a man who is alive.
They will not just let us go. We all attacked.
Well, I certainly do not want to be executed.
May I remind you what you have just said about the expected behavior of a moral individual?
I don't consider myself a particularly moral man yet.
I don't care about the philosophy of it. If you stay here, more people will die and the chaos will never end. We don't have to turn ourselves in if you're afraid of the consequences. I'm sure Cleopatra will protect you if you flee to Egypt.
What are you talking about? That was our first choice. I should go to Egypt. Our second choice was we cross the Rubicon without a legion, in peace. And we would have to, well, if we wanted the good ending there, we would have had to let her die. What are you talking about, Khalida? It's one. There is nothing anyone can do to hurt me now. I am the sole authority in Rome.
Don't do this. I'm warning you. I did not help you stop a would-be king, only to replace him with another.
My debt to you is repaid. I certainly don't owe you any support if you try to overthrow the Republic.
I'm not asking you to support me, but this is my decision. I will rule Rome.
It's clear there is no changing your mind. Perhaps this was your goal all along. Well then, this is goodbye.
For what it's worth, I hope you rule the city well. Wale.
Wale, my friends.
Take care of him, Tabat.
You are always welcome here. If you change your mind,
So it was that the Republic of Rome, which had long rested on an unsteady foundation, was finally torn to the ground. From the rubble rose a new, strong empire. Though the institution of the Senate was maintained for centuries to come, all power was stripped from it and granted almost in full to the new ruler of Rome. From Lost Scion to Legionarius to Legatus and finally to Emperor, the first citizen of Rome had broken with all traditions and betrayed the faith of many during his meteoric rise to power. But as much as those who once held power now loathed their new ruler, he was greatly beloved by the people of Rome, for whom life universally improved under his rule. As he built Rome up from a regional power to an empire spanning the continent, he came to be revered almost like a god. Old Cineros, the emperor's most beloved Servus. Though he was free, he would not leave the side of his dominus until the day he died. He lived many more years in luxury and leisure, with access to the finest works of philosophy, visited by great scholars from near and far. Freed of his domestic duties, he even found the time to author a great work of his own, a treatise on the topic of regret and forgiveness. Though its contents are lost to time, we must imagine that its completion brought him great satisfaction. Caeso left Rome with Lucia and their daughter. They traveled to Africa, as Caeso remembered the warm nights and the lush Nile Delta fondly. Here they found a place to settle and made a peaceful home for their family. Though their relationship was distant at first, their devotion to their child drew them together, and their affection for each other grew stronger through the years. To his surprise, Caeso took well to fatherhood, and soon he and Lucia had many more children. Despite her redemption in the eyes of the law, Callida at first left Rome to travel. Exhausted from her role in bringing about the fall of the Republic, she needed time away to clear her mind and ground herself again. Eventually, she returned to settle down in Rome, where her connection to its new dictator made her more safe and free to live her life on her own terms than she had ever been before. Still, she remained distant from her old friends, and she never again got involved in politics nor warfare. Bestia stayed by the side of the Emperor of Rome, becoming the leader of a new imperial guard. Uncompromisingly loyal, he was an enforcer as much as he was a protector, and eventually he became one of the most feared men in the Empire. As soon as things had quieted down, Bestia traveled to Africa once more to look for his sister. He did find her and bring her home, and she lived happily there for the rest of her life. Deianira stayed by her beloved's side, enjoying the life of luxury that Roman society could afford. Though she would never feel quite at home in Rome, it seemed nothing could trouble her as long as they had each other. Eventually, they did make the journey to Scherthia together, where she reconnected with her family. Claudiana lived for many more years. She had many friends in Rome, and her life was peaceful and comfortable until her final days. On her deathbed, she revealed that she had once been very close indeed with Lucullus, and that indeed the true family name of her children was Liciniia. Pompeius left Rome and returned to Hispania. There he became the focal point of an effort to wrest Rome once more away from its new ruler, with an eye to restoring the lost Republic. The great general and his supporters raised 10 legions and marched upon Rome, where they were destroyed in a humiliating defeat. Pompeius then fled to Egypt, where he was murdered by an unknown party upon his arrival. Defeated once more by Rome, Mithridates escaped to the lands north of the Black Sea in the hope that he could raise a new army, but the locals soon rebelled against his rule. Incapable of taking his own life by poison, in the end Mithridates died by the sword of his bodyguard. With Zenobia in charge of Murcia, it became once more a peaceful part of the Roman province of Asia Minor. With her focus on trade and strong ties to the neighboring regions, her people enjoyed a period of great prosperity. Without the leadership of Damianos, the rebellion of his gladiators soon spiraled out of control, beginning what became known as the Servile War. Escaped slaves terrorized the Roman citizens throughout Thracia until the wealthy senator Crassus brutally defeated them and crucified thousands along the road towards Rome. Lunia's death sent Nazarmanes spiraling into a fractious conflict as greedy elders from minor tribes attempted to fill the void her passing had left behind. Though Queen Cleopatra attempted to bring the region under control, her attentions were too divided, the conflict too great for her to manage. Rome was forced to send more legions to enforce peace and stability with an iron fist. Though Africa Proconsularis eventually saw peace again, the traditions and culture of the Berber population were lost forever. Queen Cleopatra Philopator was, from the day of her coronation, a greatly beloved Queen of Egypt. Revered and admired by the population, she spent many of her days traveling up and down the Nile to visit her subjects and address their troubles and concerns. Under her rule, Egypt remained a powerful and prosperous nation and a strong ally of Rome. The fruits of the Nile flowed freely to the people of the Republic. After traveling all across Africa for many years, going wherever her instincts took her, Raya eventually returned to Memphis and to the service of Tener at the Temple of Ubasti. When her mentor passed away, Raya naturally assumed the mantle as High Priestess of the Cat Goddess. Though the old faith was dwindling, she was greatly beloved by many, and her temple prospered, always home to many, many, many cats. With Diwytirchus once more assuming rulership of the Aedui, the tribe maintained a strong alliance with Rome, and through it, they greatly prospered. With the aid of the Aedui, Gallia slowly unified under Roman rule, and civilization soon began to creep into those lands in the form of paved roads, aqueducts, and fortified Roman towns. In his old age, did the Druid ever regret hastening the absorption and suppression of his own faith and culture? We will never know. The defeat and death of Vercingetorix had reduced the once mighty Awerni tribe to a myriad bickering chieftains. Without his vision, his charisma, and his resolve, there was no unifying figure to rally around, and no way for Gallia to resist their slow but inevitable assimilation into Rome. Perhaps if Vercingetorix had lived, some of their culture or religion might have survived in some form. But surely they must be grateful that civilization at last was brought to their lands. In this work, I have done my best to recount the history of this fascinating period, truthfully and accurately. As I have scoured the sources and spoken to many who claimed to have heard the story from someone who was there at the time, one thing that has stood out to me is the pivotal moments along the way where our story could have turned out very differently. Could the Republic have continued without an emperor? I believe so, if the legatus had been willing to make the necessary sacrifices. But it is clear that the personal cost would have been great, as would the risk to the highly troubled Republic in the absence of leadership. In many ways, Rome was already an empire in want of an emperor. One should always take care when second-guessing historical figures with the benefit of hindsight. Here in the present, there will never truly be a way for you to know how you might have acted if you had lived in the past. Nor can you ever be certain how history will remember you.
We're going to do two more runs. First, the path where we invaded Rome, what we did right now, but we're going to accept the Senate's judgment. And then I also want another ending where we did not cross the Rubicon with our army, the most recent one. By that time we're going to let Khalida die and go the path of righteousness and politics. I guess we will become a consul, but we'll see about that. And so after that one, you're going to experience the credits. So until we meet again.